Kia ora te whānau, and welcome to a podcast this week. This week being Te Wiki o Te Reo Māori, called James Tokuingoa.
Ko Casey Ahau.
And this is the Kōrero.
No fights today?
Yep, no fights actually. So it's all you bastards out there that stop us and go, can you not have a mandatory fight? I love you guys. It's actually funny because it shows that people are watching and they think it's funny because that's probably because you have mandatory fights as well, eh?
It's normal.
Can't be the only ones that have mandatory fights. Can't be. Yeah, mate. I'm just going to turn that up. Hello.
Hello?
Yeah, I think I got your headphones on. We'll turn down, but that's right. We're moving. The show started. We can't go back.
Yes. Let's go.
So our kōrero, we got two kōreros today. First one, we're going to talk about gatekeeping. I'll hand that straight to my wife and she can talk about that.
Well, I talked a little bit about it on my Instagram at loudproudwahine. No, but it's I don't even know why I brought it up. Why did I bring it up? What had I seen?
I don't think it's a one thing. I think it's
it's not a one thing.
It's a lots of things where.
No, that's what happened. So Hahana official Hahana, are they like a Māori?
That wasn't the first time you.
That wasn't the first time I've talked about gatekeeping, but this was the most recent that I've seen. And I've actually seen an even more recent one in light of Te Wiki o Te Reo Māori.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Okay, so we came across a post where somebody had, they posted the photo that said, Ko e whakamā,
let's be straight, real that, like, we'll name this person because this is our friend.
I don't know that person.
No.
The person they tagged.
Because this is our friend from high school. And we don't really, like, this is not like a name drop, but this is an influence on Instagram. So Summer Bronze.
So it wasn't Summer's post.
No, it wasn't her post.
Someone had posted and tagged her in it,
attacking her.
Calling her out, saying that she's not saying enough reo. She says morena te whānau, kia ora te whānau every morning on her stories, but she's been doing it for 3 months now. It's about time she learn a little bit more and move on. And I was just like, hold up, wait a minute, let me put something on it.
We won't name the page because you know what? You don't get the clout.
You don't get the clout. And I feel like that's what was happening. I feel like they were going for Summer.
They were brand new pages. No, they were brand new pages. And it's really funny. You can tell this is like a planned attack because there's a couple of reasons I think people gatekeep because it's a hot topic and it gets generated interest going on, right? So gatekeeping, basically, if I give a definition, you explain, is telling somebody they're not Māori enough or what they're doing isn't the right way to be Māori based on their experience and opinion.
So I literally look at it this way. Like in my mind, I envision literally people standing at a gate and the gate is the entry to Te Ao Māori and they're saying you can't come in because you don't know enough Māori, you can't come in because you weren't raised on your marae, you can't come in because you only say kia ora te whānau, you should be saying more by now, you can't come in because you have never been to your marae, you aren't from your hapu.
Basically it's a colonizer's philosophy.
Hell yes it
is.
Because
what colonization does is goes for you to enter, it couldn't cost you $1 for
criteria
you.
To me.
Oh, I'm looking at you.
It's literally
maybe we're gonna go $1.50 for you, bro.
It's
$10.
It's literally the it's the Māorified. No, it's the Māorified. It's the Māorified version of blood quantum, which was a colonized concept where they said if you're 50% Māori, then you can do this. 50% Māori, you had to prove it. And then I was growing up with kids at my school saying, "There's no full-blooded Māori left." My mum's birth certificate literally says full-blooded mother, full-blooded father.
And I just have to get in here. And if you watch Harry Potter, it's pure bloods versus, as they call them,
muggles,
mudbloods or muggleborns, which means that you are not a pure blood or whatever.
And that's just absolute caca. And for the revival and
Young
for the
Harry
resurgence of Te Ao Māori, Te Reo Māori, that sort of whakaaro is not even whakaaro Māori. That's not tikanga Māori at all. And that's the tikanga Māori, like the foundation and the cornerstone and the keystones to te ao Māori is manaakitanga, aroha, and tangata Māori. So it's all about people, and it's all about love, and it's all about whanaungatanga and making those relationships and connections.
Well, there's an element of like tuturu, you got to be right. Yeah. However,
but I think we'll get to that. Yeah. We'll get to that near the end, I think.
Because what I think is maybe just touch on it. Why I think it's important, because in these people's mind, they're not tuturu. You haven't done the efforts. What kura kaupapa did you go into to be able to have an opinion about Māori on such a public level? Are you saying what's right because you're representing blah, blah, blah. And if we're going back to what we talking about on that post, these two, they're brand new pages. It was a coerced attack, and someone didn't say anything back. She just, that's unfair on these like influencers, right? That are big time in wherever they're posting on social media. What do you want them to do? That is just a free attack on them, and that's not fair. But it's not just on them. Like, if anybody starts to feel brave and they put something out, bro, we come out with the magnifying glass. Did you put the macron on that? Oh, wait, bro, you didn't spell it right, because up north we use 2 A's instead of the portai,
macron,
you know, whatever it is. Like, and I'm from up north, so this is not a dig up north. I'm just saying we have differences, but we don't celebrate differences. We pick at them and we rip them apart. And do you know what we do? We just make a fool's out of ourselves to like tell Pākehā, right? These Māori people can't even get their shit together. All they're doing is fighting each other. They're putting each other down. This is why we don't need the language in this country. They can't even be friends with themselves. Why do we have to learn their language when they don't even want to learn? They're telling each other off. Oh, we don't want none of that smoke. And I was like, what message are we sending?
And do you know, like, the thing is, you don't even know, the majority of Māori have been displaced from their lands. They've been displaced from their marae, from their hapu, from their iwi. They don't know their connections. They don't all know their whakapapa. They just know that they're Māori, and that's as far as their knowledge may go sometimes. And I'm not mad at anyone about that. That's not their fault. We also battle because me and you both weren't raised on our own marae. I especially wasn't raised on any marae. You at least were involved in marae growing up and in te ao Māori growing up, but I wasn't at all. I was raised Pākehā as, and I think there's a lot of Māori like me. And we battle with internalized racism ourselves. I grow up thinking real mean, unfortunate things about my own people. I have a sister who didn't realize she was Māori until she was a teenager. She thought she was Pākehā, like, growing up her whole life.
Her dad's Pākehā.
My dad's Pākehā, and we were raised Pākehā. So
her mum looks vastly different colour contrast to her dad.
And I look Māori as. I literally look like my tupuna. Like, I've seen some old photos, and I'm like, yo, that's my nose. Those are my lips. I got that hair. Like, I'm all Māori, but I was not raised that way. And so even today, I battle with internalized racism and the psychological effects of knowing that my nanny had her mouth washed out with soap at 6 years old when she spoke real Māori at her primary school. And that's intergenerational trauma that has been passed on to me because my nanny didn't teach my mum and my aunties and my uncles the reo. She didn't pass it on to them, and so in turn it didn't get passed on to me. And she was like the last standing po for our family into te ao Māori.
So why are we against gatekeeping?
Because
I know we said it's not this and that, but when we get right down to it, why are we against it?
Because you're contributing to why people feel whakama about reclaiming their whakapapa and reclaiming the reo. You contribute probably more so than Pākehā do. Like, I don't give a damn what Pākehā say to me about te ao Māori or about te reo Māori, because I'm like, you literally don't have any legs to stand on.
I read a cool story this morning on Facebook to a friend of mine, and actually, she put up a story. She said when she was 15, she came from Taumaranui, and her name's Jodie. I'll tag you on Facebook, bro. So she said she had a job at the New World, and she was on the lotto stand or something like that, and she was directing customer service anyway. Basically, she said she greeted, kia ora, blah, 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 this is Jody. And then after her manager or the boss name, she just said the name was Rex, came out and he said, we do not greet in any language but English. You know, and he said, we don't use that Maori language here. We use English. And I won't give you a warning as long as you promise not to do it again. He's like, these customers don't want to hear English. I was like, oh, she was 15. She went home this hard and she said she told her nan. She reckons her nan's like, woo! Gathered up her little posse of friends. Went down to the supermarket the next day. She knew who Rex was, both like long-standing citizens. And then she said she waited for Rex to come out. She said, good morning, Rex. They had chit, made sure he was there, could see. Walked over to her moko, this friend Jody, at the Losso stand and said, Morena, ke te pēhea koe? And then she was like, good morning, Nan. I'm okay. And then she said, Kōrero Māori, Morena, ke te pēhea koe? And then she reckons she gave her Nan the look like, yo, I'm going to get in trouble. And she reckons she got the shooting look back. You better speak in Māori. So she responded in Māori. And then she said her Nan bought the ticket, walked past Rex, tēnā koe, Rex. And then, you know, like gave him a little greeting. And she said all her friends did the same one by one, lined up. Kōrero, like, you know, te reo Māori with this person. And she responded to every single one of her Nan's friends. And then they left. And then she said, all right, left it at that. And then she said, you know, a couple of days later, old Rex comes up and he's like, kia ora. Like, gave her and then she said what she was proud of is that her Nan, you know, she was a language warrior, not by calling anyone names, not by telling them not doing, but she said she just stood there and she spoke her language, was proud of the language she could speak, and that's the whole message that I think we want to share to our whānau out there.
That's the true gatekeeper.
Speak. You know, well, it's not about gatekeeping. No, it's like that's the I know what you mean, but I'm saying like that's the spirit of Te Ao Māori is she's like, no, that's their opposition. But you, my baby, you speak the language that I taught you, you know, and don't be ashamed. And you know, it's those experiences that we have to remember that, you know, some people don't want us to speak our language. I do get embarrassed sometimes, not all the time. I get embarrassed that I should know better. You know, I'm real proud to be the grandson of my papa, Harris Shortland. And, you know, his name carries lots of mana. And I was really embarrassed when our daughter, she didn't go to the school anymore, but she started at Kura Kaupapa before she moved on from there. And you have a pōwhiri, and they put me in the front to talk. And I couldn't talk. And I was embarrassed, you know, and I was like, I should know more, right? But nobody there, not one person there made me feel embarrassed. Like, they weren't mean to me. They said, all good, bro. You know, if you need to speak some English, all good. Or, you know, or they put a representative forward to, like, speak on our behalf. And, you know what? I was really grateful for that. They could have, like, oh, bro, you should do better. You're sending your child here. Nope. They were like, it's all good. If that's what you got, that's what you got. And that's the message you want. Instead of these little, like, who do you think you are?
What I love about that story, though, is what I mean about her Nan being the true gatekeeper is our Nans and our whānau and our aunties and our uncles and the ones who raised us and the ones who are teaching us Te Ao Māori, they're the only ones who can tell us if we've done something wrong or if we need to be corrected. I'm sure if Summer's Nan went to her and said, Summer, you could be doing more now, Summer could respond to that respectfully and probably would be like, yeah, okay, Nan, if you think I should be doing more, then I'll do more.
That's on their whānau.
But that's on the whānau. That's on your hapu. That's on your marae to call you out and to correct you. And it's and as long as it's coming from whānau, it's never. I don't believe whānau usually respond in the same kinds of ways. I've never had that experience myself.
But who are you, a stranger, to go up to another person and tell them they're not doing it right enough in your standards? Yeah, get off your damn horse, bro. Get down on the ground, and if you feel they can do better, why don't you go, hey, here's some words I have for you. Do you want to try this out? Instead of going, bro, 3 months and that's it. Bro, you should be ashamed of yourself. You will not get a mention on this podcast. But, you know, to Summer, I think, like, we stood up for her. Consequently, they turned the comment section off, but kept the post up tagging her in it. I was like, bro, that's embarrassing. But, you know, to someone like Summer, you don't know, we know her history in her past. You don't know what she's been through. You don't know what this journey is for her. Like, how she tries to be Māori, and how scary it is to be Māori when your following isn't all Māori. And for, people might tell her to don't speak Māori on her page, It's a common theme we hear from influencers that lots of non-Māori go, bro, can you speak less of that? And you're like, what?
Or
on radio stations,
talk about that.
Guy, what's his name? Guy,
I was going to say Williams, but it's not Williams.
He speaks
Arohamai.
He spoke Māori, and then he got attacked. He got attacked. All these complaints came in, and then he's like, "What? I'm not allowed to speak Māori here. This is Aotearoa. The language is Māori and English, And I think this is my kaupapa, is that we have enough opposition before we, get to the line to speak Māori. Why add another barrier by us being opposition as well?
I actually get a few people who will message me and be like, hey, did you see this person talking about this? Or what are your thoughts on this? And it's usually someone Māori, and it's something they've said or something they've said in Te Reo Māori. And I'm just like, who am I to say something? Who am I to correct them or question them? I'm like, I'm nothing to that person. I don't know how they were raised. I don't know if their nanny or koro taught them that, but I'm not leave people to figure it out, and leave people's whānau to help them and correct them and work with them. And I mean, I guess on the same shoe for the people like us and like Summer who are reclaiming our whakapapa and reclaiming our culture, there is a sense of doing your due diligence so that you are acting and behaving in a way that honours your whānau and honours your hapu. But we just assume, I just assume that that's being done. I assume that inner work is being done, and that work with your whānau is being done. I don't ever assume that they have no idea what they're talking about.
And it just makes me sad because, if you didn't know, the government tried to eradicate our language, literally wrote a law.
And our culture.
Literally
wrote
laws to eradicate Māori culture, Māori language. And so now when we're fighting to bring it back, you would basically do the same, write unwritten laws of how it's meant to be based on what your opinion is. That's what colonizers did to us. Based on their opinion, this is how it should be. But you don't know what people were taught, and you don't get to correct everything. What are they fully doing blatantly wrong stuff? And if that's the case, well, that's a different situation.
But expecting more, that's where it's wrong.
You don't get to expect nothing of nobody.
Yeah.
You can just be like, yo, if you have an issue, you don't get to public shame them. Have a kōrero with them if you really care about it, or if you're just looking for a fight, or you're just looking to establish your dominance or your prowess or your whatever,
Your tutu-ness.
As my papa would say, he said lots of times, he found in his his career on the marae or going to having kōrero with people, he'd call them peacocks, and they would flash their feathers, and he said we don't need that in Te Ao Māori, If we have messages, share our message. We don't have to show how better we are than other people. We don't have to show how much more we know. We don't have to do that. What we should be doing is showing that aroha, that manaakitanga, and having more invitations to openly converse rather than more offerings of criticism and critique. But it's very ripe at the moment. Lots of it. And it's just disappointing. We got an uphill battle to try and make
without that,
to try to keep our language pumping.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right.
Final words on that or nah?
I'm cool with that.
Oh yeah, I'm cool with it.
Switchy topics.
Yeah.
All right, now we're gonna just swerve on into this next one. This is a trigger warning. Talking about mental health, mental illness, depression. About me. So if you're in a not the best space, this is where you tap out. Are you gonna tap out?
No.
All right, she's here for it. Don't you get hoha? We
I
can't
don't
have
know
a
why you're
mandatory.
saying that.
We can't have a mandatory fight
Am
live
I going
on
to tap out? What?
That was a joke. No, you took offence. Now
I didn't take offence. I'm just like, why would you say
we're
that?
having
It's
a
weird.
mandatory fight live in front of you guys. This is great. Anyway, it's about a week now. I think I've been a week of lows for me. About a week, eh? It's been a very long time since it's been like this, right? Long time, like probably a year.
Like this and this long too.
Over 6 months, over 7 months.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Long time. And every time I think I've like come out of it, I'm feeling good. Something triggers. I'm just gonna be honest. As of lately, it's you, but that doesn't mean it's you. You know. And
I don't take offence to that. I know I'm a trigger.
But what did you? Triggers are our best teachers. So what was that?
Lean into your triggers. Your triggers.
You want me to lean into you? Stop it.
Your triggers are there to teach you something.
She's hitting on me. You're live on a podcast. So I'm sitting here trying my best to compose myself to have this conversation. My hands are in my pocket. That's kind of like my defense mechanism right now. And why is this hard? Why am I talking about this? I'm really frustrated at lots of things right now, and that's pretty common when you get low. I'm really hating on my stream right now. Not the people in it, but the people that aren't coming to it or that still talking shit to me. You know, like there's so many beautiful people in my stream, but I'm just like frustrated, and I'm frustrated at New Zealand. Like, this might sound weird to you fellas, but, you know, if someone lives with a mental illness, right, it's very hard to talk about it. And I'm not expecting changes, but, like, it's just sad, you know, we took a big game. And I think these are a couple of reasons where I think I'm struggling, is I'm carrying a bit of a load because I'm putting myself out there. And I feel like that comes with a burden as well, because I'm like carrying the weight of those that are suffering on my shoulders, and I have to keep turning up even if I'm down, you know. And I feel that's how I feel. I feel I got to keep turning up. The stream isn't making me low, but like last night I was finding myself in a negative place, and that's why I'm talking about it. Is that I've said this on podcasts and I said this on my stream, which is Forward Pack Streams. That because I talk about this every night, but I said, when you're low, it's very easy to see negatives. So you got to try to surround yourself with positives, which is frustrating and jarring to me because I really work hard to put positive things in my life, but I'm seeing lots of negatives.
And you're naturally a positive person.
And it's hard. And I'm getting to the dark place. Like, the steps are going down the rabbit hole, and I'm like, oh, how am I meant to turn around and get out of this? And I'm trying really hard. And, you know, and then I'm like, look, you know what? And what frustrates me is, you know, I see everywhere. I get thousands of views, right? But they come in for like 2 seconds, they see what I'm talking about, and they leave. But then I don't know who these people are, but then I see like comments throughout social media. I wish someone would talk about this. I wish we would have open conversations. I wish someone would show what it's like. So here I am. And I was like, and here are people in the chat, and we're screaming out for you to listen. You're not listening.
Or join in.
Join in. Don't sit there quietly and leave me hanging. Now, this isn't a moaning session. Why am I saying this? Because, you know, this is real for me. Mental illness. I say mental illness, not mental health. Mental illness. I have an illness. I have depression. I have anxiety. I have post-traumatic stress. They all pop their ugly heads up at different times in my life, right? And right now, it's really hard. And what's the hardest thing is when you talk about mental illness, right, is to stay coherent and on that one topic. And what I've been trying to do, like focus my thoughts, and I'm trying to like focus on, you know, getting the message out also while getting healthy. And it's just sad that like I feel frustrated that I'm not getting better. Firstly, I'm safe. I think everyone gets scared when I talk like this. I'm really safe. I'm really struggling, but I'm safe. She knows what's happening. She knows where I am. I let her know wherever I'm going, if I'm going, you know. But what's hard and what's sad is that, you know, Are we ready to hear this message? So, the church we go to, there's a scripture, and it's saying, basically says, be willing to mourn with those that mourn and comfort those that stand in need of comfort. You know? And there's a song that plays in my head from these, shout out to the Malini brothers. So it's like, yes, I am willing to mourn with those that mourn, comfort those that stand in need of comfort, bearing others' burden that they may be light. Oh Lord, help me make it through the night. So, why did I say that? Why did I sing that? Because it's on my head. I'm like, I'll make it out of this low, but I'm really struggling. Like, you don't understand. Like, the dark thoughts are at my doorstep right now. You know, like, that's the progression, eh? So it's like, you get down to the place where if the dark thoughts are a door that you step through, I'm at the door. But I'll get out of this. I know I'll get out. I understand what's happening. What makes me sad is that how do we get our country to be willing to mourn with those that mourn, comfort those that stand in need of comfort, bear another's burden that they may be light? You know?
I think...
Especially if I'm like, man, I'm sacrificing myself because it taxes me. And I'm like, hey, like every night I'm like, oh, I gotta go. I like talking on it, but I don't know if you notice, it's like I'm just going down.
Usually after your talk, you're like good.
But I'm not.
But you haven't been the last couple of nights. I think this is where I always talk about everyone has to be doing the work, even if you think you don't have a mental illness. And even the work could look as simple as if you're a parent, right, and you've got kids, every parent can't stand when their kid cries. Correct me if I'm wrong, but if your kid is crying and screaming and howling, we all get frustrated at it. We all just try and shut it down. You're okay, aka gaslighting. And that's normal in society. And we grow up being uncomfortable around crying and emotions because we couldn't even, we couldn't handle it from our kids. Our parents couldn't handle it from us. It's a continuous cycle of not embracing all these big, heavy emotions because kids carry big, heavy emotions. Their happiness is big and heavy. Their sadness is big and heavy. And they might be over things that we don't think are, even worth being happy and excited over or being sad and angry over, and we shut it down all the time. And that's where our work could start. Our work could start just by embracing the heavy emotions that are just in our own homes. We turn that stuff away all the time. And how are we supposed to confront these adult to adult conversations and these adult to adult emotions if we can't even deal with kids with emotions? That's maybe one step or one piece of work anyone could be doing.
Well, that's my frustration. I'm like, I feel like New Zealand is all shit. And I'm going to be real here. Why? Because when a suicide case comes out, we're so sad. Here, let me do some push-ups for you. Let me nominate you. Why don't you join this conversation? I'm getting 4,000 views, 5,000 views. But the people, what's happening is live views about 40, 50. They're staying live. But that number's going up and down because people come in, they see I'm talking about something hard.
And people have even said that, like it's hard to see a man struggling or it's hard to see a man in his emotions, so they don't know what to do. It's easier to look away. And I'm like, but don't you guys care about like mental health and suicide? Like, aren't you those people doing the push-ups, posting the post saying come around for a cuppa, the door's always open, etc., etc. But you can't even just like sit in a live video.
This is how I feel. This is honestly how I feel. This is why I share it. I sing a song. So this is Oak Storm song. But like this is honestly how... Whoa.
It's a good song though.
It's a good song. So when we were at high school, we have dorms and this dorm, I was in Wiser dorm, She was an Audrey. But the Storm Oaks, we'd have like dorm songs, and this is their dorm song. But I think it comes from elsewhere. But it's a
I
poll.
like Oaks boys best than Wiser boys, just saying. Sorry. I was more friends with more Oaks boys than I was with Wiser boys. And Wiser boys were mean to me, so I stand by what I said. But I married a Wiser boy.
Well, that got awkward.
Who wasn't mean to me.
Through the whole, anyway, I'll do the first verse. This perfectly captures how I feel, and I had an experience last night as well. I'll tell you this. When someone cares to share my joy, I brighten up inside. When someone cares to hear my heart, I gratefully confide. When someone cares to lift me up, when life may seem dull, when someone cares to strengthen me, my days can be so full. Then I can give to someone else, with spirits too still to share, and I may bless another life when I know someone cares. And this part I really like. It says, because you cared to give yourself and help along my way, the joy you gave me yesterday is mine to give today. I'll listen more within my heart as burdens may unfold. A loving touch, a helping hand to share a heavy load. It says that I may bless another life when I know someone cares. But that's how I feel about mental health and well-being and mental illness. See, like that part, because you cared to give yourself and helped along my way, the joy you gave me yesterday is mine to give today. And last night I was low. I was up to like 2 or 3 in the morning, just sitting there, just trying my hardest. Like, if like I'm trying, like big part of like what I don't like about myself is my appearance. So I would do intermittent fasting right now, and I like it. Don't try not to eat sugar and all that stuff, right? But last night, like I was low, so I'll try some lollies. I was just comfort eating, made some toast. You know, I finished eating at 7. You know, and I was like, didn't make me feel better, but I was like feeling a little desperate. And I was just on Instagram, and I liked one of the cousins or someone I grew up with. I liked her family photo, and she sent me like a real beautiful message. She just said, I'll read it. She said, and it lifted me up. Like it lifted me up. It says, hope you're well, my cuz. Thanks for singing at my wedding. Much aroha. Like, this was like 10 years ago. I was like, what? And I was like, why did you send me that message? Like, I didn't say that. I just, hey, legit, that's such a nice message. And it was 2 lines. But in a time when I was low, somebody just chose to share a little bit of kindness with me. And I said, hey, legit, that's such a nice message. Having a low day, I'm okay, just working through my processes for when I'm in the depression low. And messages like this are honestly real uplifting. Hope you guys are good. She said, such small things can make a difference, right? And said some other stuff. So I was just like, that whole thing, you know, because you cared to give yourself and helped along my way, the joy you gave me yesterday, that's mine to give today. And that helped me get to sleep. And then I, you know, start my day again. And the whole, when someone cares to share my joy, I brighten up inside. Like, if you validate me and you join in and you listen and you participate and you talk and you're there and you be a part of this, changes come. Like, it's hard to just do the same thing and talk to yourself. Like, I'm not disrespecting those that are in my stream because they talk, but there's not heaps. And I know it's a scary topic to be about, but like, I'm out here
And this isn't even just about your stream. Conversations are happening everywhere and nobody's engaging. I came across another friend we went to school with, their podcast. They do a similar podcast, or not similar, but they're talking about mental health and etc. And they're not getting much engagement either. And I'm just like, what? Like, where's all these people who are keen for the convo, just like you said?
Same as like Mike King. He's gutted right now because he put in a year's work talking to suicide victims and survivors, and everyone ignored it because it's real and it's raw. And I was like, come on, New Zealand. Come on, people. Don't sit there and tell us you care, but you can't sit in on this conversation. You're not, unless if you're struggling with a mental illness and you can't sweet, but if it's just too hard to stomach, you need to get over yourself and you need to sit in there with us, because imagine it being us alone and not having that conversation. Stand with us. Be amongst it. Be about it. And that's my kōrero. Like, I just got fired up right there. I was like,
Out of nowhere.
Like,
jump in the fight.
Jump in. Share my joy today and give me something, share something with me, because you're something. I will take that and I'll share it to her. She'll take that. She'll share it to somebody. But just stop. Stop doing push-ups. Stop doing ice challenges. Stop doing like, I have a cup of tea ready for you. No. You join the fight. Don't do a push-up, because that takes the responsibility off you to go and talk to somebody. Get in there and have a conversation. Do something. You will be surprised at how many lives you'll save. Not an exaggeration.
How many people speak up about their mental illness, and so many people are like, I had no idea. Yeah, because you didn't talk. You didn't ask how I was doing. You didn't seek me out.
I have a story about one of my uncles. And he was a head boy at a high school. And this famous radio, Polly Gillespie, right? She went to that same school. She said, I remember hearing this. I was like, what? And she said an article, and she planned, if I've misquoted, but I've read this a couple times and I've heard it, like, she planned to take her life one day at high school. She said, nobody cared about it. She said, on that day, my uncle came up to her, the head boy.
Your uncle?
My uncle.
Went up to her.
Head boy of the school, first fitting captain, was kind to her. Was kind to her. Showed her aroha. Not because nobody knew she was struggling. She said he saved her life. The kindness that he showed, he just went up to her and said, I don't know. I can only assume what he said. Hey, looking great, mate. It's a great pencil. I don't know. Your books are amazing. I don't know. But whatever he said to her, he went out of his way just to like have a genuine conversation with her.
Or a couple of kind words like that message you got.
Saved her life. I'm not saying the message I got saved my life, but it helped my life. I was not doing good, and it allowed me to feel safe and okay and get to sleep. And you never know what your words will do unless you give them out. You may never know what your words have done for somebody. But I tell you, what will happen is nothing if you give nothing. Please join in the conversations. Please be about it. Yeah, I'm cutting.
Be about it.
Yeah, that's the kōrero for me today. That's my kōrero. Yes, I'm struggling. Yes, I'm like, when I say I'm at the door, when you pass that door, then lots of the dark thoughts start flying around. I'm at that door. I haven't gone past the year, but like I'm like, and it scares me. It makes me sad. But I'm also very well aware that I know what's going on. And so I have to be gentle, be kind, be trusting, and understand that these days will pass. That sounds so stupid and generic, and it's frustrating, but
it's true.
It's true. And so I will just do my best to work on through that. But please, like I'm begging you, whānau, Forward Pack streams at night time. Come join the conversation. Say something in the chat. Talk to other people in the chat. They're sharing their experiences. Join in. Please. Anything you want to add?
No, that's, yep.
All right, fine. Well, that's us. That's the kōrero. Please be kind. Don't be gatekeepers in the negative way. Be the positive gatekeepers for Māori and mental health. Let's be the Māori and mental health gatekeepers. And on that note,
Ka kite.
yeah.